let's have the second segment. Actually, the second segment is that we will be going to get to know deeper about our councilor, how he served in the city and in the past leadership that he has. Okay. Now this time, the first question, sir, is that what inspired you or motivated you to become involved in leadership, municipal politics, and how do you plan to promote youth empowerment in your community?
Well, I started way back 2010 as a youth representative of our barangay, a very small barangay here in the city of Baguio at a very young age of 15. By that time, I was just very curious on the mechanism that there is a young person that can be elected into public office. So I was very curious, bakit may ganon? What's the purpose? What's the objective? So I joined. I run for public office. And then later on, I realized that being a public office allows you to do more for the people. Well, any one of us can do any good thing or good deed to any person, even if without any public office. But because with my realization that you're holding a public office, you're more capable of helping others. And you can use the taxes of the people to help people the same. So that's one big realization for me. Many would say na hindi kailangan ng position sa gobyerno. That's correct. That's true. But if you're capable of running in public office, do it. So you can help more people and you have the authority, you have the mandate, and you can make changes in the people's lives. So that's a good thing. And in city politics or city governance, in terms of leadership, I am part of the city legislative branch. So what we do in legislation is we make policies, we make resolutions and ordinances that will have to be complied with by our people and our offices in government. So that's a good thing because we are not just simply here as charismatic leaders. We are here to ensure that we have actual output for the people in terms of policy. And because of our policies, we have programs institutionalized for our people. Now, going to our young people, we focus mainly on youth welfare and sports development because that is my committee chairmanship here in the City Council. Aside from being a city councilor, I am also the federation president of all SKs in the city. So we focus mainly on youth welfare and sports. So by the term itself, sports programs, we empower the young people by making sure that they have opportunities for sporting events, training, incentive, even joining national, international sporting events representing the city. It's our pride and joy when young people of Baguio represent us in different international or national sporting events. And when we focus youth development, it is very uh, multifaceted. So when you say youth development, it's not only about leadership. Uh, we also have programs for health, HIV and AIDS, mental health, reproductive health. We also have agriculture for youth, education, accessibility to education, quality education. So that is, and that has been my objective since 2010 that I started serving the people as a representative of the youth. So I believe that we can still continue with that by influencing others. So my take on this is that I don't need to stay in the city government for decades and decades. We have to pass it on to other young people who can serve the people just the same.
Okay. Now, sir, you're mentioning that you work here in the city government and you're president of the SK Federation. It's a big challenge of that, working into organizations.
Yeah, every leader or every public official has their own challenge in terms of leadership and governance. Well, for me as a youth representative and being part of many organizations, government structure, private groups, etc., etc., It's how we balance our time, our energy, and our resources. Because we don't have unlimited resources, we have very limited resources. We have to prioritize. We have very limited time. We have very limited energy. We also get tired. We also get frustrated. We also get angry. We also get mad. That's the reality of being a public official. You have to take it all in because you volunteer yourself to serve the people. And we did not complain. Our public officials did not complain because we were not forced. We were elected. We were chosen by the people. And it's our own decision that we presented ourselves to serve the people.
Now, how would you balance your time, or how would you relax if you are at the point that you want to give up? Maybe.
Yeah. Uh, Relax is very relative. The word relax is relative. It depends on the person. For me, I relax when I go home and watch Netflix, watch movies, and watch Reels, Facebook, and whatnot, and other social media platform. And when I'm with friends, when I'm with family, it's a way for me to relax myself. And also, very simple things, just like that one.
Mm.
That the fire. Nare-relax ako. It's relative. No? For me, since that public office is not time bound, meaning to say we work 24 hours, 7 times a week, we don't, 7 days a week, we don't choose when to serve. We don't choose when to help. So, definitely, if you want to become a public official, you should be ready that you will always be tired, you'll always be exhausted, frustrated, but you have to manage everything. You have to balance it. You have your own personal life, maybe during my time when I was still studying, I am a student, at the same time, a barangay kagawad, so I have to balance that. There's no reason for us to say na ayoko na. Why? Because you were given the mandate by the people. If you resign your position, it's sort of saying na you don't value the trust of the people. So you think very carefully if you want to enter public office. If you want to be elected, even in school organizations or student councils, be discerning if you want really to continue because you're asking for the people's trust. And when you resign, definitely it's also tantamount to disregarding the trust people have given you. So we need to relax from time to time, it's correct, but we don't need to be luxurious when we relax. We don't need to be expensive when we relax. So the things that I've mentioned, that simple machine, that small machine, it's a way for me to relax already. And as public official, kailangan ipakita namin na hindi tayo gumagastos ng maluho. So that's for me how the way I relax.
Now, you mentioned about mental health,
Yeah.
you mentioned about quality education. And what is the action plan, or the action that you have done so far in the city?
With respect to mental health, I authored the mental health ordinance of Baguio. In respect to quality education, I authored an ordinance for granting financial allowance to kinder to grade 12 monthly allowance. And we authored resolutions requesting universities to grant genuine academic break or academic ease to students of different colleges, universities, and many more. I'm also a member of the local school board. That's why uh, we value the welfare of students as well as the welfare of teachers. So those are concrete examples of how was I able to contribute in terms of mental health awareness and access to quality education. In terms of projects and programs for mental health, we have conducted multiple numerous mental health awareness campaign in the barangays. with the help of the SK and our partners in the local youth development council.
Okay, that's great. Tell us your advice to the students who are on maybe clinically depressed
Yeah.
or maybe stressed sa
Yeah.
mga schools nila. Ano ba dapat yung gawin nila for them to if they encounter that one, they will be makakayanan nila yun.
Right, both ways. There are two ways. Number one is because when you have some issues with your mental health, it is sometimes because of the environment that you're living in. So I mentioned earlier about schools, about academic break, about academic ease, about financial support. Hindi naman kasalanan ng isang kabataan na makaranas siya ng mental health because of poverty, because of expensive tuition fee, because of the load, the overload information and requirements from schools, organizations, and even the pressure from the family and friends. Hindi naman niya kasalanan yun. So, number one, the community needs to adjust. The community needs to do something. Inside the family needs to be more open when it comes to discussing mental health. Ensure that you have always communication with your kids, with your sister, with your brother, with your cousins. When you're outside the home, in the community, people needs to respect and be kind. Respect one another, be kind to one another, help one another instead of bashing people. Next, when you're in school, your peers, your fellow youth, your fellow students should also be capable of uh, embracing embracing mental health issue because it's real. It's real. It's not a joke. In school, aside from your fellow students, universities need to recognize the the uh, uh, the genuine student welfare. So when you say we give requirements, we also need to balance the welfare of students when it comes to their mental health. So that's the first way. The second way is when you yourself is in need of mental health support, you can come to our offices, health services office, our office here at the City Hall, and we can provide you with mental health counseling. We can we can endorse you to a mental health support group. We can provide free medications for mental health, anxiety, depression, etc. You can go to BGH. We have a department there is devoted to mental health. You can go to your trusted friends. You can open up. You can always open up. But again, as I mentioned earlier, the first approach, the community needs to open up just the same. Hindi po pwede na tayo lang. Hindi po pwede na yung estudyante na nakakaranas ng depression, anxiety, siya lang ang mag-adjust. Hindi pwede yon. That's too much to ask. Dapat the entire community. That's why when you talk about mental health, it should be a whole of a community approach. It's a holistic approach dapat. So we will not blame them for having depression, for being depressed, for crying, for closing their doors. We should not blame them. What we need to do is to make our communities safer for them. So we need to talk about mental health as a normal thing, not with any form of stigma or discrimination. So that goes all to all people of Baguio, not only for students.
Now, can you please tell me, sir, in 3 to 5 sentences, wow, 3 to 5
Yeah,
sentences,
we
Ma'am
get.
Sabrina, in 3 to 5 sentences, can you tell me how can you, how can you inspire other people of your story? What's your story?
Yeah, well, for me, because of my curiosity, that's the very reason why I was elected as a public official. So being curious is not bad. So when you want to learn more about something, you go for it. So you don't hold back yourself to learning more things because sometimes it is the best thing that will happen in your life. It will actually change the course of your entire life. I have no intention of being a public official in the city. I have no intention of becoming a city councilor. I was just very curious. What can I do more with my fellow barangay constituents? What can I help? What can I do to help, rather? And basically, we would all like to live in a place that is safe, comfortable, and progressive. So if you don't do anything because you're scared to do it, you have reservations, natatakot ka, hindi ka sure, na-intimidate ka, insecure ka, you need to discover saan ka pa pwedeng makatulong sa iba. You don't need to be a public official. Just if you're curious, if you want to learn more, if you want to do more, do it. So we can all be leaders in our own right. We can all help people in our own ways. So there's no one formula to becoming a successful person.